How many times have we been here? Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, and now you got Andrew Tate. The downfall of Andrew Tate and its implications. Andrew Tate, a social media sensation for some time, has been banned from YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. The bans were put in place because of a campaign that touted Tate as being damaging to his primarily young audience. Tate also closed his Hustlers University affiliate marketing program immediately after the bans took place. The program, which helped Tate amass his large following, allowed members the opportunity to earn commission by signing up new people to the scheme, whilst being encouraged to post videos of Tate across social media to garner more referrals. The monthly fee for the course was $49, and Tate said the course had over 80,000 members. Social media spokespeople released statements on Tate's ban as his exclusion has been seen as controversial. A spokesperson for Meta, which owns both Instagram and Facebook, said last week that the company removed Tate's official accounts from the social media platforms for violating the company's policies on dangerous organizations and individuals. The Meta spokesperson also confirmed that the ban is permanent. Tate had 4.7 million followers on Instagram before being dismissed. A TikTok spokesperson also said that following an investigation by the platform, an account belonging to Tate has been permanently banned. TikTok is using software to identify and remove any further uploads of videos found to violate its community guidelines. The platform will also flag specific content so it won't be recommended to users for you feeds. Misogyny is a hateful ideology that is not tolerated on TikTok. Apparently, misandry is tolerated on TikTok in the form of older strags making stupid videos about the passport bros, but I'll save that for later. The TikTok spokesperson has said, our investigation into this content is ongoing as we continue to remove violative accounts and videos and pursue measures to strengthen our enforcement, including our detection models against this type of content. As mentioned, YouTube also followed suit in banning channels associated with Andrew Tate. This included the channel Tate Speech, which had over 744,000 subscribers. So let's just understand this. One social media organization, which, by the way, TikTok has been banned recently by the U.S. Congress for being a Chinese espionage tool on U.S. government devices. Now, never mind the fact that if I was the president or if I was in charge and I felt that there was a clear and present danger from software that was being used to spy on America, I would take the full step and ban TikTok on all U.S. devices. Let's just think about this for a second. TikTok, they claim, is a clear and present danger, so much so that the United States Congress felt that they had to put in a bill that it needed to be banned. However, they chose only to ban it on government use devices, not the American public in general. But TikTok is a clear and present threat and danger to U.S. national security. Does this make sense to you? If you had real leadership like me, I would say, fuck that. We're banning it across all platforms. Vote for me in 2020. When's the next election? 2020. What is this? 2022, 2024. Yes, vote for me in 2024 so you can get some real fucking leadership. If you're telling me that it's a clear and present danger and threat to U.S. government devices, then why would you allow it to stay on the devices of all Americans, including their children going back and forth to school? But that's not the point of why I'm ranting. The point of why I'm ranting is to say, if one social media canceled you for claiming that you violated their terms of service, then how did a chain of social medias claim that you violated theirs too, all at the same time? What you're up against here is techno-fascism. That's what it comes down to. Techno-fascism now bleeds into real life and it becomes real fascism. Secret police I believe in Russia, the KGB, the GRU. There's other secret police for just about every super state, every welfare super state that's ever existed had to have a secret police. I believe in the book and movie V for Vendetta. I believe they were called the Fingermen. I kind of saw George Orwell's 1984, I believe it was, and I forget what they called those people who occupied Eurasia or whatever. But the bottom line is fascism always looks the exact same way. It always looks the exact same way. You always have to build up a pretext against somebody so that this way, when you finally do violate them and when you finally do toss them in a cell, it looks palatable to the public. So when you're up against charges, now, and this is the key word, sex trafficking, and when you're up against rape charges, I don't know if you pay much attention to the news, but I have a very long memory and I pay a lot of attention. You remember the guy from WikiLeaks, what was it, Julian Assange? Didn't they bring up the same shit on Julian Assange? It's like their playbook, and I'm a chess player. You got to understand, I'm a chess fucking master. The thing that you got to always remember is your enemy's opening moves are usually always going to be the same. They've run this before. They've run this play. Now, I don't know. Listen, I'm not saying that he's not guilty. I'm not saying he's guilty. The bottom line is the enemy's moves are always the same. The tactic is always the same. The first 5 moves are usually always the same. I've seen this playbook before. I've read this playbook before. I've seen trumped up charges before. You're not surprising me. You're not surprising me at all. Now, I'm not even a Tate follower, and I've never really even listened to him. The first time I ever heard him speak for more than like 20 minutes was watching Queen Pearly Things interview him on her channel. Yeah, she's the queen of the manosphere. She's in charge of it now. Everybody else is just struggling. I've never really listened to him, and apparently at this point, I guess I never will. But it looks like he's about to be pushed into one of those memory holes, like in George Orwell's novel. They call it, what it was like you push things into a hole to be forgotten and nobody ever remembers it again or something. I haven't seen the movie. I haven't read the book yet. I saw clips of it on YouTube. I'm going to try to watch the entire movie and I'm going to try to read the book eventually. But it's a book that they don't even like keep around anymore. It's like one of those things they want you to forget. It's like they don't want you to think about how your government is turning techno-fascist with the help of social media organizations. They don't want you to think about that. So books about fascism, they pretty much don't want you to see them. V for Vendetta, I believe, was actually about anarchy. So, these books, they don't want you thinking about this. They don't want you hearing about it. They don't show the video. They don't show the movie on television. I've got hundreds of thousands of movies I have access to because I've got a bunch of channels on cable. 1984 isn't one of them. Just think about that for a second. Where are we? We terminated channels associated with Andrew Tate for multiple violations of our community service. Now, my question is, they have a 3 strikes you're out rule for community service violations, and they also have a 3 strikes you're out rule for, what is it called? Copyright infringement. Are you telling me that he got all 3 strikes at the same time? Is that what you're telling me? Or are you just telling me that we swept him into a memory hole and we want you to forget that he ever existed? Is that what you're telling me? Because if you're just telling me that, then okay, now I understand. But if you're telling me that he simultaneously violated all of these terms of service across multiple platforms, Facebook, Meta, YouTube, and TikTok, which, by the way, the U.S. Congress has recognized as a Chinese espionage tool and has banned off of U.S. government devices. Something smells musky around here. And when I say musky, I'm also talking about Twitter. Musk, Elon Musk. Okay, anyway. What else is there? Tate has claimed he was simply playing a comedic character in his content. Tate told platform and publication Lad Bible, "It is very unfortunate that old videos of me where I was playing a comedic character have been taken out of context and amplified to the point where people believe absolutely false narratives about me. In the last 2 weeks, I dedicated over $1 million to charities supporting women. I posted this on Instagram, but Instagram ignored it. Internet sensationalism has purported the idea that I'm anti-woman when nothing could be further from the truth." He continued, "This is simply hate mobs who are uninterested in the facts of the matter trying to personally attack me. They twist facts and produce fancy documents full of half-truths and lies to attack people they don't like." Tate's statement also mentioned that he would always have millions of fans around the world and said his online platforms are a beacon of light, teaching people of all genders and races how to respect one another for years to come. Somehow I am the villain when all of my posts were Bible verses and charitable donations. Banning me only inspires more internet hate mobs and more division. This will become a weapon of attack for different points of view for the foreseeable future. Tate concluded, "I am a mixed-race man raised by a single mother. I suffer all of the disadvantages of the old world. I am a fantastic role model for all people, both male and female. Comparisons across social media have already begun as former UFC, MMA, Jake Shields commented on the ban on Twitter. People are freaking out about young boys looking up to Andrew Tate, but totally fine with young girls looking up to Cardi B and the Kardashians." Tate's main message is stop being lazy and making excuses, go do some hard work and get in shape and make money, he added. Cardi's is go do drugs, fuck random men, and go through life as a brain-dead moron. And it appears that her message is carrying on very well. The WAP singer, WAP. There's some holes in this house, there's some holes in this house. It's coming macaroni in a pot. Okay, I can't start singing. I gotta get through this. I gotta macaroni in a pot for this. I can't. No. I can't do it. I can't do it. All right, I can't. I gotta stop. The WAP singer responded to Shields' once hearing about her name being brought up. "I'm married. I don't smoke weed. I don't pop pills. I don't do coke," Cardi wrote. "I'm a mom of 2 kids and I do a lot of charity work. But hey, let me put Cardi into it to defend a man who defended, I would say with an ED, misogyny and rape." Talking to Jeff Gore of the JLF firm, who has been awarded the Super Lawyer's Rising Star the last 3 years in a row, he sees a fuller picture of what is transpiring. "We live in very different times. I think the issue we are often seeing is that people think these social media platforms are tantamount to the real world in regards to societal law. They are not. There is no legal precedent really for Tate against these companies. It's their platform, their terms of use. Theoretically, they have the autonomy to ban anyone they want as long as they can, at the very least, loosely prove that terms of use are being violated." Well, the reality is that is the truth. This is not Congress. And as far as I know, anything he is alleged to have done didn't happen in America. So he wouldn't even be held to the U.S. Constitution on this anyway. In fact, he'd have been better off in America because at least if they violated his rights and they were found to have been lying, at least he'd be able to sue for a violation of constitutional rights. The reality is a lot of people don't understand free speech. Congress shall make no law. Private institutions like these social media services, which truly are data mining operations out to take your personal data and use it and sell it without your, because here's the problem. I can't say that it's without your consent because the problem is from the day that you pushed yes on the terms of service, you gave them consent. You gave them implied consent. It's the same thing as with your driver's license. From the second that you sign yes on that dotted line, you're saying that driving is a privilege, not a right, and you are consenting to, if the police decide to search you, they can, for the most part. They can search your car, they can stop your car if they feel that there's reasonable cause, whatever. A lot of people just don't get this shit. And granted, listen, there's some constitutional lawyer out there, there's some Supreme Court justice who could probably say it better than me. The bottom line is Congress shall make no law. These private institutions have the 14th Amendment guaranteeing privacy of contracts. They can make you sign this terms of service just to use their platform. And then if they feel like getting rid of you for whatever reason, they can. Now you're understanding the reason why Kevin Samuels had to keep his image as clean as possible. That's the reason why he brought people on, and he had to make it willing of them to get on, because the last thing he ever wanted was to have an image that was sullied in any way beyond what he was saying. That's the reason why he was wearing the suits. That's the reason why he came on there talking about all these scents and fragrances. That's the reason right there. And he was 100% right. He had to make it so hard for them to make a case that he violated terms of service that they'd never be able to flag him, they'd never be able to get rid of him. And for the most part, in death, he actually has won because his voice is still out there. His message is out there. It's just like, who said it? Two-Face in the movie Batman Rises, where he fought, Bane. Well, no, I mean, with Two-Face. It was the movie with Two-Face and the Joker. That was Batman Dark Knight. You remember what he said? He says, either you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's just what it happened. That's just what it had to be. It's like sometimes when your work is done, you have to go quickly, because if you linger around too long, they're coming after you and they're going to get you. Okay. It says theoretically they have the autonomy to ban anyone. And he's right. I think most people are aware it's not just Andrew Tate that states these types of opinions across social media platforms. He added, there have been more instances to count of very racist, sexist, and overall hate speech across numerous platforms without anybody being banned. Tate was an aberration because of how far his reach spread, similar to the banning of Donald Trump. Do you remember when Twitter decided to shut down Trump's account? But they couldn't just do it by just doing it. No. They couldn't just do it that way. What they needed to do was they needed the pretext. The pretext, the reason why we can do this and why we feel that we can do this. Oh, because January 6th. So now with January 6th as your pretext, you can do anything you want. And that's one of the scary things about pretext. A lot of people, see, I've studied media, I've studied movies, I've studied books long enough to understand pretext. If you give somebody just the right amount of evidence or just the right amount of excuse, they can justify anything. Add that up and make it a superstate. If a superstate has just enough pretext, they can justify anything. Here in America, we have what's called national security, i.e. the Congress banning TikTok. Congress couldn't have simply just banned TikTok because they would have been violating the 14th Amendment rights of the company. I believe it's called ByteDance, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. I forget who owns it. I think it's ByteDance. The reality is you have to build a case first. You have to say, oh, they're using this to spy, espionage, national security. Now you have a pretext. Now you can get it done. That's how a pretext works. You gotta get something that you can always put up there to make it a pretext. Once you got that pretext, you can do anything you want. You can do anything you want. Absolutely. Under national security, I can, if I was president under national security, I could justify nuking something just because. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I used a nuke earlier today on this location right here was because there was a terrorist nuclear this or that there, and I had to blow it up in order to protect American democracy, blah, blah, fucking blah. You have to have once you have that pretext, you can justify anything. You can justify anything. There's nothing you can't justify as long as you have a pretext. Once you got that pretext, you can do anything you want. You can do anything you want. You can violate any rules. You can violate any laws. Anything. You can do anything you can think of. But you have to have a reason. You have to have that pretext. Well, What Fegnor then mentioned was the potential implications around Hustlers University and Tate's business. Our firm advocates for the little guy. A lot of firms make this claim, but when push comes to shove, they fold. Our firm talks the talk and has the cases and results to back it up. We are not afraid of a challenge, and we will go to bat for any case, big and small or small. When there are these big sensationalist cases, oftentimes lawsuits come out of everywhere, sometimes just to follow the tide. I think that's what we have to be on the lookout for now. He added, it's one thing to ban Tate off of social media, but executing lawsuits is a whole other ballgame. The impact of social media bans is powerful. Look no further than the silencing of Donald Trump through his bans. It feels almost as if we haven't heard from him in a long time. No, you know what it feels like to me? It feels like the entire media said we're not going to give him any airtime anymore at all. I hear of speeches that he made after the fact. If I don't use my energy to go and find the speech, then I don't hear it at all. It's like it's being pushed into a memory hole. That's exactly what it feels like. It's like it's just like what's going on right now in China. There's supposedly you got uprisings against Xi Jinping, as we've been told. You've got this COVID thing supposedly sparking back up just like it did in 2019 before the shutdown that we had in March 2020. Here's the thing, though. If the government shuts down the media and you can't easily get information in and out because unless somebody carries physically a smartphone from one country to the next and uploads video, if they shut down the internet and they control the internet, you have no idea what's going on there. The entire media and news can be shaped, and you have no idea what's going on. You have no idea. Now, keep in mind, I'm not talking out of my ass. I lived in China. I lived in Shanghai, Fudan University, had an apartment at Guoding Road, 288 Guoding Road. When I would go into that internet cafe, because back then it was all about internet cafes, when I would go into that internet cafe, Google barely worked, and it only took you to sites that they allowed you to go to. There was no Facebook from what I remember at that time. And Yahoo barely worked too. The only Yahoo you could get was what they had cleared to work. Everything else was shut down. When they decide to shut you down, they shut you. When the government decides to shut you down, you get shut down hard. Like, I'm talking about you could turn on your cell phone and the shit don't work. You could turn on your computer and the shit don't work. Like, nothing happens. Like, you could turn on your internet and shit don't work. The cables leading to your house could be cut. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, Tate will seemingly suffer the same fate, however, with the growth of Web3, a new iteration of the World Wide Web, which incorporates concepts such as decentralization, blockchain, and token-based economics, and democratizing elements such as social media. Technology could be a big game changer for Tate's future. Whatever happened to, what was that shit called? What was it called? Whatever happened to net neutrality? Now, my biggest problem with net neutrality is that nobody pretty much understood what it meant. My thinking was what they should have called it was equal access to the internet. Because if you said equal access to the internet, I think more people would have said, oh, you know what? I'm in favor of that. But when they call this shit net neutrality, you have no fucking clue what they're talking about. It was like net neutrality came and went. It just came and went. And we all know what the big deal was. They were basically pushing more and more control. And they were basically trying to do everything they could to make sure that all they have to do is flick like one switch and your shit goes off. Anyway, where am I? Okay, I'm done. I'm actually done. Okay, back to the video. As a person who only got on TikTok in order to help get content for my channel from these anti-passport bro video makers, as I've already stated, as far as I'm concerned, true leadership in this country would ban it wholesale across the board, especially if you're telling us that it's a national security threat. Anyway, U.S. House bans TikTok from official devices. TikTok has been banned from electronic devices managed by the U.S. House of Representatives, according to an internal notice sent to the House staff. Users who install the short form video app on any house mobile device will be asked to remove the software, according to the notice, which was provided to CNN by the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer. I guess that means that you won't be seeing too much of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez anymore on there. The notice identifies TikTok as a high risk to users due to a number of security risks. Let's see. President Joe Biden's signature. The move comes after more than a dozen states in recent weeks have implemented their own prohibitions against TikTok on government devices. TikTok has previously called efforts to ban the app from government devices a political gesture that will do nothing to advance national security interests. TikTok declined to comment on the House restrictions. U.S. policymakers have cited TikTok as a potential national security risk, saying that the Chinese government could pressure TikTok or its parent company, ByteDance, into handing over personal information of U.S. users, which could then be used for Chinese intelligence operations or the spreading of Chinese-backed disinformation. There is no evidence that has actually occurred, though the company last week confirmed that it fired 4 employees who improperly accessed the TikTok user data of 2 journalists on the platform. Since 2020, TikTok has been negotiating with the U.S. government on a potential deal to resolve the national security concerns and allow the app to remain available to U.S. users. TikTok has said that the potential agreement under review covers key concerns around corporate governance, content recommendation and moderation, and data security and access. The company has also taken some steps to wall off user data from the U.S., organizationally and technologically from other parts of TikTok's business. But an apparent lack of progress in the talks has led some of TikTok's critics, included in Congress and at the state level, to push for the app to be banned from government devices and potentially more broadly. I have a better idea since you people are so goddamn smart. Ban it from government devices. Ban it in the USA. If you're telling me that it's a national security threat, then just as Bruce Wayne said in Justice League, we have to treat every single threat as if it's an absolute certainty. Because anything less means that you're doing a half-assed job. I am going to simply read the news. I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. This is still obviously a developing situation. Andrew Tate detained in Romania on organized crime and rape charges. The controversial online influencer has been accused by prosecutors of recruiting, housing, and exploiting women by forcing them to create pornographic content. Controversial online influencer and self-described misogynist Andrew Tate has been detained in Romania on charges of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group, authorities confirmed. The former kickboxer and reality TV star, who has been banned from a number of social media platforms for misogynistic comments and hate speech, was arrested alongside his brother and 2 other suspects. They would be detained for 24 hours, prosecutors from the anti-organized crime unit said in a statement after raiding their properties in Bucharest. The Tate brothers have been under criminal investigation since April. They declined to comment, but their lawyer confirmed that they had been detained. A spokesman for Tate told the Daily Mirror he could not provide any details regarding the reports. However, Andrew and Tristan Tate have the utmost respect for the Romanian authorities and will always assist and help in any way they can. According to a translated statement from the investigator, 6 women who were allegedly sexually exploited by the organized crime group have been identified. The 4 suspects appeared to have created an organized crime group with the purpose of recruiting, housing, and exploiting women by forcing them to create pornographic content meant to be seen on specialized websites for a cost, prosecutors said. They would have gained important sums of money. Earlier this week, the British national was told to get a life by climate activist Greta Thunberg on Twitter after he told her he owned 33 cars with enormous emissions. Second story. Greta Thunberg roasts kickboxing champion Andrew Tate. Greta Thunberg had the perfect response to a tweet by Andrew Tate, the light heavyweight kickboxing world champion, when Tate tagged the climate activist in a tweet bragging about his 33 cars and their emissions. "This is just the start. Please provide your email address so I can send a complete list of my car collection and their respective enormous emissions," he wrote. Thunberg, who's 19, suggested he enlighten her, adding, "Email me at smalldickenergy@getalife.com." Keep in mind, this is a 19-year-old girl who wrote back, "Enlighten me," adding, "Email me at smalldickenergy@getalife.com." So this is what she said to him. Keep that in mind. Yes, and this goes on to talk about how he has a Bugatti with a W16, the Bugatti Chiron right here in apparently a gold color. My Bugatti has a W16 8-liter quad turbo. I have 33 cars. I have two Ferrari 812 Competizione have 6.5-liter V12s. This is just a start. Please provide your emails so I can send a complete list of my car collection. Okay, so that's about that for the Greta Thunberg story. You see, this is what happens when you insult Greta Thunberg. I'm willing to bet she's behind all of this, honestly.
To be continued.